A paralyzed girl is thrown into the mud by her stepmother, while no one does anything. A millionaire man witnesses the scene and immediately stops his car. What he does is surprising. The rain fell mercilessly over Oakwood Heights, Massachusetts, a quaint coastal town known for its grand historic mansions and perpetual fog. On that particular grey afternoon, 11-year-old Lily Morgan sat motionless in her wheelchair at the edge of Hampton Park, her delicate hands gripping the armrests as her stepmother Victoria pushed her roughly toward the mansion's gates. "We're going home." "Now," Victoria hissed, her voice as cold as the autumn air. Her designer boots clicked against the wet pavement, creating a rhythm that matched Lily's racing heart. "But I wanted to see the ducks," Lily whispered, her voice barely audible above the patter of raindrops. Victoria's grip tightened on the handles of the wheelchair, always with the childish requests. "Your father indulged you far too much." With a swift, deliberate motion, she pushed the wheelchair through a muddy puddle, splashing dirty water all over Lily's carefully pressed dress and pale legs. "Accidents happen," Victoria said with a thin smile as Lily's eyes welled with tears. "Now you'll need to change, which means we'll miss the charity board meeting." "How inconvenient." From across the street, Adam Blackwood observed the scene, his brow furrowing deeply. At 42, the director of New Beginnings Rehabilitation Foundation had seen many forms of suffering, but something about the small girl's resigned expression made him pause his morning jog. When Victoria stepped away to take a call, he approached cautiously. "Looks like you could use a hand," he said gently, kneeling beside Lily's wheelchair. His kind eyes met hers, frightened, wary, yet with a spark of something undimmed. "I'm fine." "Thank you," Lily replied automatically, glancing nervously toward her stepmother. Adam reached into his pocket and offered a clean handkerchief. "For your dress," he explained. As Lily hesitantly accepted it, their fingers touched briefly. In that fleeting moment, Adam felt a strange familiarity that he couldn't place. "Lily, who gave you permission to speak to strangers?" Victoria's sharp voice cut through the air as she marched back, her phone clutched tightly in her manicured hand. "I apologize for intruding," Adam said, standing to his full height. "I'm Adam Blackwood, director at New Beginnings. We specialize in pediatric rehabilitation." Victoria's expression changed instantly, her frown transforming into a practiced smile. "Victoria Morgan, I believe I've heard of your foundation. Quite prestigious." "We do good work," Adam replied evenly, his gaze returning to Lily. "We're always looking for new patients who might benefit from our programs." "How thoughtful," Victoria said, placing a possessive hand on Lily's shoulder. "But we have private specialists, the very best money can buy." As they spoke, Lily began to tremble, raindrops mingling with tears on her cheeks. The handkerchief remained clutched in her small fist, a tiny rebellion. "Of course," Adam nodded, reaching into his wallet. "But if you ever need our services, please don't hesitate." He handed Victoria his card while discreetly slipping another into the folds of Lily's blanket. "We believe every child deserves a chance to stand on their own." At the Morgan Mansion, a sprawling Victorian estate overlooking the Atlantic, elderly housekeeper Martha Wilson waited anxiously by the door. When she saw Lily's mud-stained clothing, her weathered face creased with concern. "Oh, my poor dear," she murmured, quickly wheeling Lily toward the East Wing bathroom. "Let's get you warmed up." "It was another accident," Victoria called after them, her voice echoing through the cavernous foyer. "She's so clumsy lately." In the privacy of the bathroom, Martha gently helped Lily change. "The third accident this month," she noted quietly. "So your father would never have—" "Don't," Lily interrupted, her voice suddenly stronger. "She'll hear you." Martha nodded sadly, helping Lily into fresh clothes. As she did, she noticed a business card tucked into the folds of the girl's blanket. "What's this?" Lily explained about the man in the park. "He was kind," she whispered, as if kindness itself were a forbidden secret in the Morgan household. Martha studied the card thoughtfully. "New Beginnings," she read aloud. "Perhaps." Their hushed conversation was interrupted by Victoria's voice from the hallway. "Martha, I need Lily presentable for dinner. The Whitmores are coming, and I expect her to be charming." Martha quickly tucked the card into her apron pocket. "Our little secret," she whispered to Lily, whose eyes brightened just slightly. the first genuine emotion they'd shown in months. That night, after a carefully orchestrated dinner, where Lily performed her role as the tragic stepdaughter with practiced precision, she sat alone in her room. From beneath her mattress, she withdrew a sketchbook filled with drawings, memories of happier times with her father, dreams of walking again, and most recently, a sketch of a kind-eyed stranger offering her a handkerchief in the rain. In his downtown apartment, Adam Blackwood couldn't shake the image of the girl in the wheelchair. Something about her eyes haunted him, reminiscent of someone he once knew. Opening his laptop, he began searching for information about the Morgans of Oakwood Heights, unaware that this simple action would soon unravel a web of secrets that connected them all. Adam Blackwood stared at his computer screen in disbelief. The photograph of Thomas Morgan, taken at their college graduation 15 years ago, showed the same warm smile he remembered. The obituary confirmed what Adam had suspected. Thomas Morgan, brilliant architect and old friend, had passed away 18 months ago after a long illness, leaving behind a daughter, Lily, and his second wife, Victoria. Thomas had a daughter, Adam whispered to the empty room, and I never knew. After their close friendship during college and early careers, they had lost touch when Thomas moved to Oakwood Heights to establish his architecture firm. Adam had been immersed in building new beginnings, turning a personal tragedy into purpose after his own sister's struggle with rehabilitation following a car accident. His phone rang, interrupting his thoughts. "Mr. Blackwood, this is Martha Wilson from the Morgan household." The elderly woman's voice was hushed and anxious. "I found your card in Lily's blanket. We need to talk, but not over the phone. Can you meet me tomorrow at St. Mary's Church, after morning service?" The next day, beneath the stained glass windows of the empty church, Martha Wilson's weathered hands trembled as she handed Adam a yellowed envelope. "I found this 3 days ago, hidden in Thomas's old study, tucked between the pages of his favorite book." Her voice quavered. "It's his real will, dated just 2 weeks before he passed. Victoria doesn't know it exists." Adam carefully unfolded the document. "This states that in the event of his passing, Thomas wanted joint guardianship of Lily to be shared between Victoria and—" His voice caught. "Me. He named me as co-guardian." Martha nodded solemnly. "Mr. Morgan always spoke highly of you, said you were the most honorable man he knew." She leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "Victoria has been controlling everything. Lily's medical care, the estate, everything. She's isolated that child, convinced the doctors that Lily's condition is worse than it is. I believe she's using Lily to maintain control over the Morgan fortune." "Has she been mistreating her?" Adam asked, his jaw tightening. "Not in ways that leave marks," Martha replied carefully. "But there's cruelty and neglect, in cold words, in accidents that happen too frequently." She straightened her shoulders. "I've worked for the Morgan family for 35 years. I held Lily the day she came home from the hospital. I cannot stand by and watch any longer." Back at the Morgan mansion, Victoria paced the master bedroom, phone pressed to her ear. "Richard, I need those trust documents transferred immediately. The foundation is pressuring me again about using Thomas's designs for their new building." She paused, listening. "I don't care what the original agreement was. I control the estate now." She ended the call and moved to her vanity, carefully studying her reflection. At 41, Victoria Morgan maintained the beauty that had first caught Thomas's eye. But lately, fine lines of worry had begun to appear around her eyes. She picked up a silver-framed wedding photo, her fingers tracing Thomas's face. "You promised me security," she whispered to the image. "You promised me I'd never have to struggle again." Downstairs, Lily sat in the conservatory, bathed in filtered sunlight as she sketched on a pad hidden beneath a history textbook. Her drawings had become increasingly detailed, emotional escapes from her constrained reality. Today's sketch showed a bird with a broken wing, perched on the edge of an open window. Martha entered quietly, placing a cup of hot chocolate beside Lily. "Your favorite," she said with a conspiratorial smile, "with the tiny marshmallows your father always insisted on." Lily's face brightened momentarily. "Victoria says sugar makes me hyperactive." "What Victoria doesn't know won't hurt her," Martha replied, carefully closing the conservatory doors. She knelt beside Lily's wheelchair. "I met with that kind man from the park today. His name is Adam Blackwood, and he knew your father in college." Lily's pencil stilled. "He knew my dad?" Martha nodded. They were best friends once, and I believe he might be able to help us. She hesitated, choosing her words carefully. Lily, do you remember the doctors in Boston who said you might walk again with proper therapy? Lily nodded slowly. Victoria said they were just being kind, that it would be cruel to give me false hope. Martha's eyes flashed with rare anger. Hope is never cruel, child. She took Lily's hand in hers. Mr. Blackwood's foundation specializes in helping children like you. And I believe your father wanted him to be part of your life. Their conversation was interrupted as Victoria's heels clicked on the marble floor outside. Martha quickly slipped a folded note into Lily's textbook. Not a word, she whispered as the conservatory doors swung open. Victoria entered, elegant in a tailored dress. Martha, I need you to prepare the guest room. Richard will be staying with us this weekend to review some legal matters. Her eyes narrowed at the hot chocolate. I thought we agreed Lily needed to watch her diet. My mistake, ma'am, Martha replied evenly. Victoria turned to Lily. We have the charity gala tomorrow night. You'll wear the blue dress and please try to look appropriately grateful when people express sympathy. She checked her watch. Your tutor will be here in an hour. I expect perfect marks on your French test. After Victoria left, Lily waited until the footsteps faded before retrieving Martha's note. It contained a simple message. Your father's true wishes were for you to fly, not remain caged. Help is coming. That night, while the household slept, Adam Blackwood made 2 important calls. The first to Dr. Sarah Collins, New Beginnings head therapist, requesting an anonymous evaluation for a potential new patient. The second to his lawyer, regarding the validity of a recently discovered will. As rain lashed against the windows of his apartment, Adam stared at an old photograph of himself and Thomas from their college days. I'll keep my promise, old friend, he whispered, even if I didn't know I'd made it. In her bedroom at the Morgan mansion, Lily Morgan dreamed of walking through a field of wildflowers, while across town, Victoria Morgan tossed restlessly in her sleep, haunted by the crumbling of carefully constructed walls. The same rain fell on both houses, but for one it promised cleansing. For the other, erosion of everything held dear. New Beginnings Rehabilitation Center stood on the edge of Oakwood Heights, its modern glass structure overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, a stark contrast to the Victorian mansions that dominated the town's landscape. Adam had designed it that way deliberately, a place where the future held more promise than the past. 2 weeks after meeting with Martha, Adam watched through a one-way observation window as Dr. Sarah Collins conducted her initial assessment of Lily Morgan. Victoria had reluctantly agreed to the evaluation after Martha had orchestrated a coincidental meeting with a board member of Victoria's favorite charity, who happened to mention the foundation's remarkable success rate with children. Her muscular atrophy isn't nearly as severe as her medical records indicate, Sarah noted quietly to Adam as Lily attempted simple exercises. With consistent therapy, there's no physiological reason she couldn't regain significant mobility. Adam nodded, his expression thoughtful. And the psychological assessment? Sarah's professional demeanor softened slightly. She's built walls, Adam, high ones, but there are windows in those walls. Her artwork shows remarkable emotional intelligence and resilience. On the other side of the glass, Lily was completing a drawing as part of her assessment. The sketch showed a girl in a wheelchair reaching toward a door that stood slightly ajar, light streaming through the crack. I'd like to enroll her in our full program, Adam decided. 3 sessions weekly, under the scholarship program, so Victoria can't object on financial grounds. You're personally invested in this case, Sarah observed carefully. That's unusual for you, Adam hesitated before answering. Her father was Thomas Morgan. We were friends once. Sarah's eyes widened with recognition. The architect? The one who designed the original plans for this building? The same, Adam confirmed. I owe him a debt I never had the chance to repay. When the assessment concluded, Adam introduced himself to Lily as the foundation's director, pretending they were meeting for the first time. Victoria watched the interaction with sharp eyes, standing close enough to hear every word. We believe Lily would benefit tremendously from our pediatric program, Adam explained professionally. We've had remarkable success with cases similar to hers. Victoria's smile didn't reach her eyes. How fortunate that Martha happened to hear about your foundation. Almost providential, wouldn't you say? Her tone suggested she suspected the connection wasn't entirely coincidental. Sometimes, the right help finds us exactly when we need it, Adam replied evenly. 3 days later, Lily attended her first official therapy session at New Beginnings. As Martha wheeled her through the center's bright atrium, Lily's eyes widened at the wall of artwork created by patients, children in various stages of recovery, expressing their journeys through paint and pencil. "Your drawing could be up there someday," Martha encouraged. The therapy room buzzed with activity, children working with specialized equipment, supportive parents offering encouragement, therapists guiding movements with gentle hands. In one corner, a girl about Lily's age watched her with curious eyes. "You're new," the girl stated matter-of-factly, wheeling herself over. With fiery red hair and freckles scattered across her nose, she radiated an energy that seemed to brighten the room. "I'm Emma. I haven't walked in 2 years because I'm scared, but Dr. Sarah says that's just my brain being overprotective." Lily blinked, surprised by the blunt introduction. "I'm Lily. I haven't walked in 3 years because I can't." Emma tilted her head. "Can't or won't. There's a difference, you know." "I won't. What's your excuse?" Before Lily could respond, Dr. Sarah approached with a warm smile. "I see you've met our resident philosopher, Emma Peterson. Don't let her directness fool you. She has the kindest heart in Oakwood Heights." Emma grinned. "And the sharpest tongue, according to my mom." For the first time in months, Lily felt a genuine smile tug at her lips. The session progressed with baseline exercises, movements designed to assess Lily's true capabilities rather than what her restrictive medical records claimed. By the end, she was exhausted but felt a strange, unfamiliar sensation, possibility. As Martha helped her change after hydrotherapy, Lily whispered, "Victoria says the doctors are just being kind, that I'll never really improve." Martha's hands stilled. "And what do you believe, child?" Lily hesitated. "I don't know anymore." During the next few weeks, Lily attended therapy sessions under Victoria's reluctant permission. Adam, volunteering as a program assistant, watched her progress carefully. He maintained his professional distance during sessions but found small ways to encourage her, leaving a new sketchbook in her therapy locker and accidentally bumping into Martha and Lily at the center's cafe. One afternoon, while Victoria was engaged with the charity board, Adam sat beside Lily in the center's garden. "Your father designed this garden," he said quietly. "Did you know that?" Lily's eyes widened. "My dad designed New Beginnings?" Adam nodded. "The original plans, yes. We lost touch before construction began, but I kept his vision." He paused, choosing his words carefully. He believed in creating spaces where healing could happen naturally, where light could find even the darkest corners. "I miss him," Lily whispered, her hands tightening on her wheelchair armrests. "He was an extraordinary man," Adam agreed. "And he would be so proud of the progress you're making." Lily's expression clouded. "Victoria says I shouldn't dwell on the past. She threw away his pictures because she said they were making me melancholy." Adam's jaw tightened, but he kept his voice gentle. "Sometimes the memories we hold closest are the ones that give us strength to move forward." He reached into his bag and withdrew a small wrapped package. "I found this while going through some old boxes. I thought you might want it." Inside was a children's book worn with age. "Your father and I read this in college. He always said the illustrations reminded him of what hope looked like." Adam opened to a marked page where beautiful calligraphy spelled out, "Some wings only grow in damp ground." Lily traced the words with her fingertip. "Victoria wouldn't like me having this." "Then we'll keep it here in your therapy locker," Adam suggested. "Some treasures are meant to be private." At the Morgan mansion later that evening, Victoria noticed the change in Lily, a certain lightness that hadn't been there before. She watched from the doorway as Lily attempted to shift herself from the wheelchair to her bed without assistance, something she hadn't tried in months. "What are they telling you at that center?" Victoria asked sharply, startling Lily. "Just therapy exercises," Lily answered quickly. Victoria moved into the room, her heels clicking ominously on the hardwood floor. "I spoke with Richard today. He thinks we should reconsider these sessions. The doctors at Massachusetts General were quite clear about managing expectations." Lily's face fell. "But I'm getting stronger. Yesterday I don't want you disappointed when these promised miracles don't materialize." Victoria interrupted, her voice softening to what might be mistaken for concern. These rehabilitation centers need success stories for their fundraising. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear. As Victoria turned to leave, she paused at the doorway. Oh, and Lily? Martha. Mentioned you've been making a friend there. Emma, is it? I've arranged for you to attend the Whitmore's garden party on Thursday, which means you'll miss this week's session. Her smile was razor-thin. Family obligations must come first, don't you agree? After Victoria left, Lily reached under her mattress for her sketchbook. With determined strokes, she began drawing the ocean visible from her window, turbulent waves crashing against unyielding rocks. In the corner of the page, almost too small to notice, she added a tiny boat, weathering the storm. Jessica Campbell had built her career on uncovering stories others preferred to keep buried. As a journalist for the Oakwood Chronicle, she had developed a reputation for compassionate but unrelenting investigative reporting. When an anonymous envelope arrived containing photographs of Lily Morgan at various charity events, alongside financial records of the Morgan Foundation, Jessica's instincts sparked to life. The photos showed a progression that troubled her, a once vibrant child gradually becoming more withdrawn at each event, with Victoria Morgan's hand perpetually clamped on her shoulder. The financial documents suggested something equally disturbing: large sums from Thomas, Morgan's charitable trust being funneled into projects that seemed to primarily benefit Victoria's social standing rather than the stated causes. Jessica's first stop was the New Beginnings Rehabilitation Center, where she requested an interview with the director about their pediatric programs. Adam Blackwood agreed to meet, but grew cautious when Jessica's questions shifted toward specific patients. I understand Lily Morgan is enrolled here, Jessica said, watching Adam's expression carefully. The same Lily Morgan who appears frequently at Victoria Morgan's charity galas. Adam's professional demeanor didn't waver. We don't discuss our patients, Miss Campbell. Patient confidentiality is absolute here. Jessica nodded, respecting the boundary while pressing forward. Of course, I'm more interested in the Morgan Foundation's charitable giving. Victoria Morgan has positioned herself as a champion for children with disabilities, yet financial records suggest most of the foundation's actual giving supports architectural preservation and arts endowments, not medical research or rehabilitation services. Adam's interest was piqued, but he maintained his composure. That would be disappointing if true, but I couldn't comment specifically. After Jessica left, Adam called his lawyer. The discovery of Thomas's real will had initiated a quiet legal investigation, but they needed to proceed carefully. Victoria's control over the Morgan estate gave her substantial resources and influence in Oakwood Heights. At the Morgan mansion, tensions were escalating. Victoria had begun restricting Martha's access to Lily, claiming the elderly housekeeper was encouraging unrealistic expectations. She'd also started intercepting the motivational notes that mysteriously appeared in Lily's therapy bag. Notes Adam had been leaving to encourage her progress. One evening during a thunderstorm, Victoria ordered Lily's wheelchair to be placed on the covered veranda to build character. As rain lashed at the windows and thunder rolled across the bay, Martha defied the instruction and brought Lily back inside. You're dismissed. Martha, Victoria said coldly when she discovered the disobedience. Pack your things tonight. You can't dismiss me, Martha replied with quiet dignity. My employment contract is with the Morgan estate, not with you personally. It requires board approval for termination, as Mr. Morgan specifically arranged. Victoria's eyes narrowed. We'll see about that. In the meantime, your duties no longer include Lily's care. Later that night, Martha slipped into Lily's room. I've left something for you in your favorite book, she whispered. If you ever need help and I'm not here, call the number. The next morning, Victoria announced that Martha had taken a leave of absence, a transparent lie that Lily didn't believe for a moment. When she found the hidden note with Adam's personal phone number, she tucked it into her therapy journal, away from Victoria's prying eyes. At New Beginnings, Adam faced challenges of his own. The Foundation's board had called an emergency meeting, concerned about his growing involvement in the Morgan case. You're jeopardizing the Foundation's reputation by pursuing a personal vendetta against Victoria Morgan, argued board member William Preston. She's one of the most influential philanthropists in Massachusetts. This isn't personal, Adam insisted, though he knew the statement wasn't entirely true. This is about a child who's being denied proper care for financial gain. You have no proof of that, Preston countered. Actually, he does, Dr. Sarah Collins interjected, entering the boardroom with a thick folder. As Lily's treating physician, I've documented systematic medical neglect. Her previous doctors prescribed an aggressive therapy regimen that Victoria never implemented. Instead, she sought opinions until she found doctors willing to recommend minimal intervention, contrary to best practices for Lily's condition. The board listened in, stunned silence as Sarah presented evidence of Victoria's medical decisions, consistently prioritizing control over Lily's welfare. Furthermore, Sarah continued, our psychological evaluation indicates emotional manipulation consistent with psychological abuse. Lily believes she cannot improve because she's been repeatedly told improvement is impossible, despite clear evidence to the contrary. Adam's phone rang, interrupting the tense meeting. Martha Wilson's voice came through breathless and urgent. Mr. Blackwood, Victoria's lawyer, is here. They're moving Lily to a private facility in Switzerland, tonight. Adam's blood ran cold. That's illegal under the terms of the will. Victoria doesn't know we found the will, Martha reminded him. She's acting now because she suspects something. There's a private medical transport coming at midnight. Adam made a split-second decision. Keep Lily safe. I'm calling my lawyer and the family court judge. What followed was a frantic race against time. Adam's lawyer filed an emergency petition for temporary guardianship based on the newly discovered will and Dr. Collins's medical evidence. Judge Eleanor Winters, known for her fierce protection of children's rights, agreed to an emergency hearing. At the Morgan mansion, Victoria supervised as household staff packed Lily's belongings. You'll love the Alpine Institute, she told Lily, her voice falsely bright. The mountain air will be so refreshing. Why can't I stay at New Beginnings? Lily asked quietly. I'm getting stronger there. Victoria's smile tightened. Those people have filled your head with false hopes, Lily. Dr. Reinhardt in Switzerland is a realist. He'll help you accept your limitations. As darkness fell and rain began to batter the windows, a mirror of the night they'd first met, Adam Blackwood stood on the mansion's doorstep with Sheriff David Parker and a court order, granting him temporary custody of Lily Morgan. Victoria's face drained of color when she opened the door. This is absurd, she sputtered, attempting to close the door. You have no right. Sheriff Parker blocked the door with his foot. Mrs. Morgan, I have a court order signed by Judge Winters granting temporary custody to Mr. Blackwood, pending a full hearing. On what grounds? Victoria demanded, her voice rising. Medical neglect, financial exploitation of a minor, and violation of the terms of Thomas Morgan's last will and testament, Adam answered steadily, producing the document Martha had discovered. Your husband named me as co-guardian of Lily in the event of his passing. Victoria's composure cracked. That's a forgery. Richard said the will was airtight. Apparently your lawyer wasn't aware of this version, Adam replied. The date on this will is 2 weeks later than the one you've been using. Inside the mansion, Lily sat in her room, listening to the confrontation downstairs. With trembling hands, she reached for her wheelchair and slowly pushed herself toward the hallway. For the first time in months, she felt something beyond fear or resignation. She felt hope. As Sheriff Parker and Adam entered the foyer, Victoria backed away, her carefully constructed facade crumbling. You can't take her, she insisted, desperation creeping into her voice. The Morgan fortune is tied to her guardianship. I'll be ruined. That's not my concern, Adam replied firmly. Lily's welfare is all that matters now. When they reached Lily's room, they found her already packed, a small suitcase containing her sketchbooks and the few personal items she treasured. Her eyes met Adam's, filled with cautious hope. Are we going to New Beginnings? She asked quietly. Adam nodded, kneeling beside her wheelchair. Just until the hearing. You'll have a room overlooking the garden your father designed. As they left the mansion, rain poured from the darkened sky. Adam held an umbrella over Lily, ensuring not a single drop touched her, a stark contrast to their first meeting. Behind them, Victoria Morgan stood in the doorway, her empire beginning to crumble around her. 6 months passed like a changing season, gentle yet transformative. That new beginnings, Lily Morgan flourished under the combined care of Dr. Sarah Collins, Adam Blackwood, and Martha Wilson, who had been officially hired as the Foundation's residential house manager. The court had granted Adam permanent co-guardianship, with Victoria retaining limited visitation rights, pending completion of family therapy sessions. Lily's therapy room had become her sanctuary, walls adorned with her increasingly hopeful artwork, sunlight streaming through windows that overlooked the Atlantic. Here she worked tirelessly with Emma Peterson, their unlikely friendship becoming a cornerstone of both girls' recovery. "Remember when you couldn't even stand for 10 seconds? Emma teased as they practiced with parallel bars. "Now look at you showing off with your fancy walker." Lily grinned, perspiration beading on her forehead as she carefully navigated the bars. "Says the girl who refused to leave her wheelchair until I beat you at wheelchair basketball." "Best motivation ever," Emma retorted. "My competitive spirit couldn't handle the humiliation." Dr. Sarah observed their banter with quiet satisfaction. Lily had progressed beyond anyone's expectations, not because of medical miracles, but because she'd finally been given the consistent therapy, encouragement, and emotional security she'd been denied for years. Adam watched from the doorway, emotion tightening his throat. In the months since bringing Lily to New Beginnings, he'd discovered countless ways in which she resembled Thomas, her determined expression when facing challenges, her artistic vision, even the way she'd tilt her head when considering a problem. Through Lily, Adam had reconnected with the friend he'd lost, fulfilling a promise he hadn't known he'd made. "We're planning something special for the Foundation's annual gala," Sarah informed him quietly. "Lily's idea, actually, but it's a surprise." The New Beginnings Spring Gala was the Foundation's most important fundraising event of the year. Normally, Adam would have been consumed with preparations, but this year he'd delegated most of his responsibilities, focusing instead on finalizing Lily's legal arrangements and helping her settle into her new life. The evening of the gala arrived, transforming the rehabilitation center into an elegant venue. Donors, medical professionals, and patients' families mingled beneath twinkling lights in the atrium Thomas Morgan had designed years earlier. Adam, dressed in a tuxedo, greeted guests with practiced ease while keeping an eye on the entrance. Martha appeared, elegant in a simple blue dress. "She's ready," she whispered to Adam. "And she's nervous," though she'd never admit it. When Adam entered the preparation room, he found Lily sitting in her wheelchair, wearing a pale yellow dress that brightened her now healthy complexion. Beside the wheelchair stood her walker, decorated with fairy lights for the occasion. "Nervous?" Adam asked gently. Lily nodded. "What if I fall? What if everyone's watching and I just can't do it?" Adam knelt beside her. "Then I'll be right there to help you up. But Lily, even if you never took another step forward, you've already come so far. You're already the bravest person I know." Her eyes, so like Thomas's, searched his face. "My dad would have liked you being my guardian, wouldn't he?" "He chose me himself," Adam reminded her, throat tightening. "It was his last gift to both of us." The gala program proceeded with speeches, awards, and testimonials from patients who had rebuilt their lives at New Beginnings. When Dr. Sarah stepped up to the podium, a hush fell over the crowd. "Tonight we have a special presentation," she announced. "One of our patients has something to share that embodies everything New Beginnings represents." The spotlight shifted to the side entrance, where Lily sat in her wheelchair, Emma beside her. Slowly, deliberately, Lily rose from the chair, gripped her walker, and began the careful journey across the stage, step by painstaking step. Each movement represented months of determination, tears, and triumph. The audience held its collective breath as Lily reached the center of the stage. With a deep breath, she released the walker and stood unassisted for the first time in public. Her voice, clear and steady, carried across the silent room. "My father once told me that courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about being afraid and moving forward anyway," she said. "For years I was told what I couldn't do, what wasn't possible. But here at New Beginnings I learned what I could do. And every day that list grows longer." Tears welled in Adam's eyes as applause thundered through the atrium. Jessica Campbell, covering the event for the Chronicle, captured the moment Lily took her first independent steps toward Adam, who stood waiting with outstretched arms. At the back of the room, a figure watched silently. Victoria Morgan, considerably diminished from her former imperious self, leaned heavily on a cane, the result of a car accident 2 months earlier when, distracted by legal troubles, she had driven off the coastal road. The injuries had left her temporarily dependent on the same assistive devices she had once used to control Lily. After the ceremony, as guests mingled and congratulated Lily, Victoria approached hesitantly. The crowd parted, conversation stilling as the former adversaries faced each other. "You did well tonight," Victoria said stiffly, her free hand clutching her cane. Lily studied her former stepmother, noting the struggle in her eyes, the effort each step cost her. "Thank you for coming," she replied simply. An uncomfortable silence stretched between them until Victoria spoke again. "Your father would be proud." The words seemed to cost her something vital, an admission that pierced her carefully constructed narrative. Before Lily could respond, Victoria turned to leave, her progress slow and painful. Adam moved to Lily's side, his hand protective on her shoulder. "She needs help," Lily observed quietly. "That's not your responsibility," Adam reminded her gently. Lily watched Victoria's laborious exit. "Maybe not. But I remember what it feels like to struggle while everyone watches." To Adam's surprise, Lily walked slowly toward Victoria, matching her former stepmother's pace. "The physical therapy here is really good," she said conversationally. "Dr. Sarah helped me when everyone said I couldn't improve." Victoria's eyes, suspicious yet vulnerable, met Lily's. "I don't need charity." "It's not charity," Lily replied steadily. "It's just one person helping another." 2 months later, Victoria Morgan sat in the waiting area of New Beginnings, watching as Lily demonstrated stretches to a group of new patients. The relationship between them remained complex. Wounded trust healed slowly, if at all. But in the neutral territory of the rehabilitation center, they had established a fragile truce. Dr. Sarah approached, clipboard in hand. "Mrs. Morgan, we're ready for your session now." As Victoria struggled to rise, Lily appeared at her side, offering quiet support. No words passed between them, just the simple acknowledgement of shared humanity in the face of vulnerability. Martha, observing from the reception desk, caught Adam's eye. "Full circle," she murmured. Adam nodded, emotion tightening his throat. Thomas would have appreciated the symmetry. On the first anniversary of Lily's arrival at New Beginnings, the Foundation unveiled a new wing dedicated to Thomas Morgan. The architectural elements incorporated subtle nods to his design philosophy, while the entrance featured a mosaic created by patients, including a panel Lily and Emma had designed together. The centerpiece was a sculpture of 2 hands reaching toward each other, one offering support, the other reaching upward with hope. Beneath it, a simple plaque read, "Some wings only grow in damp ground," in memory of Thomas Morgan, whose vision continues to lift others. As twilight settled over Oakwood Heights, Adam and Lily walked slowly along the coastal path near New Beginnings. She still used a cane for longer distances, but each day brought new strength and confidence. "I'm thinking of studying architecture," Lily said suddenly. "Like my dad," Adam smiled. "He would have loved that. But only if it's what you truly want." Lily nodded, her gaze on the horizon where ocean met sky. "It is. I want to design spaces that help people heal, not just physically, but emotionally. Places where light finds all the dark corners." As they turned back toward New Beginnings, its windows glowing warmly against the gathering darkness, Adam recognized the truth. In helping Lily find her strength, he had found healing for his own long-buried wounds. The journey that had begun in rain and mud had led them both into unexpected light. Behind them, their footprints traced parallel paths in the damp sand, separate yet aligned, moving steadily forward into whatever weather awaited.